light of your love is shining in the midst of the darkness shining. Jesus, light of the world, shine upon us. Set us free by the truth you now bring us. Shine on me. Shine on me. Shine, Jesus, shine. Fill this land with the Father's glory. Blaze, Spirit, blaze. Set our hearts on fire. Flow, river, flow. Flood the nations with grace and mercy. Send forth your word, Lord, and let there be light.
Good morning and welcome to Let the Bible Speak. My name is Alex Meredith. I'm a minister for the Marquette Church of Christ here in the Central UP. Thank you for joining me this morning. Glad to be able to speak with you for a moment. If you've got a Bible, by the way, go ahead and open it up. We're going to be in Philippians chapter 2. If you don't have a Bible, that's all right. If you need to pull out your phone, a tablet, computer, that's all right too. Well, let's start out with this. Just sort of a thought question. Have you ever had to do something that you really did not want to do? Have you ever had to do something that you really did not want to do? A few years ago, and quite a few years ago in my defense, this illustration does not make me look good, so I want to create some distance here. A few years ago, this was back when I was, in high school age, and so I was living with my dad summer before college, and he had asked me before he left somewhere, Alex, can you empty the dishwasher for me? It's a simple, trivial task, right? And I know that now. I know that it's a simple, easy thing, and you can do it quickly, and even the fact that we had a dishwasher in and of itself was a luxury, right? And it made it tremendously easier than if I had had to do anything by hand, or all of it by hand. So I realize that now, but at the time, that was a big deal. And let's just say I wasn't the most hardworking individual at the time. And so I really didn't like that he had asked me to empty the dishwasher. I mean, how dare he, right? He gave me this chore to do, a chore that I didn't want to do, a chore that, in my mind, was one of the hardest things to do, and I didn't want to do it. But he left, and I knew I had to do it. And so I did it. But I did it with a little bit of resentment in my heart, And have you ever done anything like that? Like, you want to make sure that whoever's watching or whoever told you to do it knows just how much you're unhappy with it. So, I'm emptying the dishwasher, taking out the dishes, and you do everything a little more forcefully, and you just mumble under your breath while you do it. Oh, I guess I could put that there, and I could put that there, and I'm going to shut this door, and right? You just do it with a little bit of, right? Maybe that wasn't the godliest response. And I realize that now. But maybe it also sounds familiar because I think we all get caught up in doing things with a little bit of anger and frustration. Things that we don't want to do, but we have to do them. Maybe that happens in your family. Maybe it happens at work. Maybe it happens with your spouse. The text that we're going to be looking at today, Philippians chapter 2, we're going to be starting in verse 12. Remember, so far we've been talking about fellowship. We've been talking about how we're working together towards this end of preparing for the return and judgment of Jesus Christ, right? And in this theme of unity, he talks a little bit here about the work that we do. So let's go to Philippians chapter 2, starting in verse 12. Therefore, my beloved, as you have always obeyed, so now, not only as in my presence, but much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. For it is God who works in you, both to will and to work for his good pleasure. Do all things without grumbling or disputing, that ye may be blameless and innocent, children of God without blemish in the midst of a crooked and twisted generation, among whom you shine as lights in the world, holding fast to the word of life, so that in the day of Christ I may be proud that I did not run in vain or labor in vain. Even if I am to be poured out as a drink offering upon the sacrificial offering of your faith, I am glad and rejoice with you all. Likewise, you also should be glad and rejoice with me. A few months ago, Lucy, my daughter, she went to this event they had at the local library, and I think they call it water gun painting, where they put like watercolors in these little squirt guns, and then they had a piece of paper and they just squirted it all over the paper, and well, it was a mess. And also, I think at the time she was 4 years old, and so it was, it wasn't exactly Van Gogh. So that's kind of how this passage seems to me. You look at it and you go, all right, well, that's a lot of things just splattered everywhere, isn't it? On one hand, he's talking about working with fear and trembling, doing things without grumbling and complaining, but he also talks about shining his lights into the world, holding fast to the word of life, and then his relationship to the Philippian church. It's kind of all over the place, but there is a connection here. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to approach this passage kind of piece by piece, and then we're going to come back at the end and put all these puzzle pieces together. So we start out with this statement. We see it in verse 12. Work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. Work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. Just like we talked about last week, we have another profound and powerful statement, but it raises an important question. I mean, first of all, how can we work out our salvation? The Greek word that's used here, katergazomai, just means work out, and it's talking about work which accomplishes a particular end, a particular goal. And here, that goal, that end, is your own salvation. So, how is that? Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8 says, by grace you have been saved through faith. This is not your own doing. It is a gift of God. You may have heard the phrase before, sola fide, by faith alone, right? By faith alone you've been saved, by grace, through faith. So there are a couple of important points to make here when we're talking about working out your own salvation. It is true, we are saved by grace through faith. But when we're talking about faith, we're talking about something that implies action. It implies work. And here we need to distinguish between what faith is versus what belief is, right? You might say that belief is to come to a cognitive conclusion. The demons have come to a cognitive conclusion that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of the living God. We see this in the Gospels, right? Does that mean they have faith? Well, no. Faith is a belief combined with obedience. You might even think about it as you believe it and then you act like you believe it, right? Romans chapter 1, verse 5 says this. It says, we have received grace and apostleship to bring about the, quote, obedience of faith for the sake of his name among all the nations, right? So when we're talking about obedience, anytime we're talking about doing the right thing and being obedient to God, we're not talking about earning our salvation. We're really talking about responding to God's grace that's already been given to us, right? Now, here's another thing to point out. We really aren't the ones doing the work in the first place. You look back at verse 13. We're not alone in this, right? For it is God who works in you, both to will and to work for his good pleasure. It is God. God is the primary agent. We are the ones cooperating with the process, right? God is the active agent. He is working through us to bring about his kingdom, to bring about his will in this world. Which is exactly why, by the way, we should work with fear and trembling, because we're working for God. Go to Colossians chapter 3. Colossians chapter 3, starting in verse 23. Yeah, listen to this. Whatever you do, work heartily, as for the Lord and not for men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the inheritance as your reward. You are serving the Lord Christ. I don't know about you, but I feel like I would act a lot different if I knew that God was my boss, so to say. Jesus was my boss, as opposed to almost anyone else. I mean, when you look at the New Testament teachings on authority in the first place, you actually see that there's some sort of parallel there, that God, because he has established all of these systems of authority, when you work for anyone in authority, whether that's your employer or it could be talking about government systems too, when you submit to those, that is actually part of your submission to Christ. So there's something interesting there. But the key point is, all in all, whenever you're doing anything, you are doing so under the supervision of God, right? Whether that's at work or at home or anywhere else, you are working for God, which perhaps gives us a reason to approach those duties and responsibilities with fear and trembling. Now, when we talk about fear and trembling, there's been a cultural shift. There has been, right? There's been this general loss of reverence that I think this attitude has sort of bled into the church some as well, right? And I know it's a bit taboo, but the Bible frequently talks about the value of fearing God. Proverbs chapter 1, verse 5. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Some translations use the word wisdom. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. That's the first step in discipleship. Matthew chapter 10, verse 28, Jesus puts this very bluntly, I think. Matthew 10:28, it reads, "And do not fear those who kill the body but cannot kill the soul. Rather fear him who can destroy both soul and body in hell." Fear God. That's an important part of discipleship. And really, when you talk about the fear of God, that was actually a prerequisite for potential Christian converts in the early church. When you look at the book of Acts, you have this interesting phrase that seems to come up over and over in reference to these Gentiles who a number of them end up converting over to Christianity, and it describes them as God-fearers. It uses that phrase, God-fearers, those who already fear God, right? Because really, when we're talking about conversion and evangelism and all of that, isn't that the first step? Don't you have to believe in and fear God in order to buy into Christianity? Right? So, fear of God, really important. And I've had people ask me about this before too, even on this show. When we're talking about the fear of God, we're not just talking about cowering in the corner because we're afraid of punishment. It's almost more, that is true in some sense. I mean, we are afraid of the punishment that God might bring us if we don't obey. That's certainly part of it. But that's not all of it. That's not the whole picture of what it means to fear God. Because really and ultimately, the fear of God is talking about this recognition that God is creator and we are created and living as such, right? It's not just cowering. It's respect. It's reverence. It's living as if you are subject to a higher moral code that's been established by a higher being. In our case, and for all Christians' case, that's God. So, what does it mean then? And what does it look like to work out your own salvation with fear and trembling? as it says in verse 12? Well, it certainly means to obey God's commands to the best of your ability. In verse 16, I need to go back to Philippians 2 here. Yeah, so in Philippians chapter 2, verse 16, it talks about holding fast to the word of life. And that holding fast to the word of life, that's something we do constantly. Of course, it's not something that you just switch on and off. It's not today I'm going to be, I'm going to be a Christian, and then tomorrow I'm taking the day off. This is a constant effort. It is a lifestyle that you have to adopt, right? It changes everything about who you are and what you do. So we talk about holding fast to the word of life, knowing that one day, by the way, Jesus is going to come back and he's going to check your work. That's why later on in verse 16, it talks about the day of Christ. You have over and over throughout the Bible this reference to the day of the Lord. This actually happens in the Old Testament and the New Testament. The day of the Lord, the day of the Lord. And sometimes you have this description in the New Testament referring to the day of Christ. This is referring to that day when Jesus is going to return. Maybe it'll be in our lifetimes, maybe it won't be. Maybe it'll be 2 years from now, maybe it'll be tomorrow, maybe it'll be 1,000 years from now. We don't know, right? But one day, we've been given this promise that Jesus is going to return. The living and the dead will appear before God, and they will be judged according to their obedience or lack thereof to the gospel of Christ. Now, you have embedded into that this hope and this promise of grace and mercy that's given to us through Jesus Christ. But for now, I want to focus on this idea of obedience. It's obedience, because one day Jesus is going to come, he's going to check your work. And I think there's something important to note here, which is that God's not making you do anything. God is not forcing you, he's not breathing down your neck, forcing you to do this, forcing you to do that. He's not going to grab your hand and drag you along, drag you through the supermarket, kicking and screaming, right? He gives you the choice. He says, look, this is everything I've done for you. He's laid out his cards on the table and said, look, I've shown it all. There's nothing hidden. This is what I've done, this is what I am doing, and this is what I am going to do. And now you have the opportunity to respond. And we have this choice. We see the magnitude of God's grace. And the question is, do you respond to that in kind, or do you turn away? But God gives us a choice. My dad, when he asked me to empty the dishwasher, he left. And he didn't stay and breathe down my neck and say, well, this is how you're going to do it, and you better do it, and I'm going to watch you until you're done. No, he left, and he entrusted me. He trusted me with the task being completed by the time he got back. In the same way, God leaves us with this work to do. You might say that the work in some way is evangelistic, right? You have those commands at the end of the Gospels to go out into all the world, teaching them all that I've commanded you. Now I will be with you to the end of the age. Spread the news of Jesus, right? So part of the work is evangelistic, but it's also in part a moral command of doing your best to follow God, to be holy, for the Lord your God is holy. Right? We're entrusted with this work, and God says, all right, I'm going to go. I'm not leaving you alone, by the way. God gives us his Spirit as a helper in the meantime before Jesus returns in the flesh. But he entrusts us to do the work in the meantime. So, speaking of which, we're supposed to do that work without grumbling or disputing, it says. And I think this is probably the most impactful, because I think most of us can get on board with that very simple and basic message of do what God tells you to do. I think most of us can get behind that, but here's where it gets really difficult. Do it without grumbling or disputing. Verse 14. God has given us all a lot of work to do. I think about where I'm at. God has made me a husband. He's made me a father. He's made me a minister. And the list could go on. I mean, I'm a son. I'm a brother. I'm a friend. Right? I've got all these different roles to fill. And there's a lot of responsibility and work that's tied to those things, right? And in addition to the work of living a blameless and innocent life, a life without blemish, as it says in verse 15. And sometimes it gets really hard. And not just in the sense that it's hard to do, but it's hard to do it with a good attitude, right? Because you've got all this stuff before you. And I mean, I even had a little of this morning. I woke up and I wasn't feeling real good. My knee's bugging me, and I've got all these things going on. Life is happening, and you say, all right, all of this is happening, but Alex, you've got to get this done. And sometimes you wake up and you go, well, I don't really want to. Or, okay, but I'm going to do it, but I'm not going to be happy about it. Yes, reluctant obedience is probably better than disobedience. But maybe we could stand to complain a little bit less. I look at Jesus' example. I think about Isaiah 53, verse 7. It says, he was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. Like a lamb that is led to the slaughter, and like a sheep that before its shearers is silent, so he opened not his mouth. See, Paul is really just trying to teach the Philippians the radical art of submission. Submission. And that's a quality that if you learn and embrace the art of submission, that'll really make you stand out in the crowd. Remember verse 15 where it said you are children of God in the midst of a crooked and twisted generation, lights into the world? If you learn how to be submissive to God, and you learn how to be submissive to God by being submissive to all of these other systems of authority that we have in place, and to be submissive to the roles and responsibilities that have been given to you by God, that's going to be noticeable. I remember years ago, this was actually around the same time of the dishwasher story. This is when I was in high school, and I was over at a friend's house, and we were playing games or something like that. We were just, using up time. But we were doing something fun together, and I remember his mom came into the room, and she said, let's say his name is Joe. So she said, Joe, in 2 hours, I need you to take the dog out. I need you to clean your room. I need you to make sure to drop so-and-so off to doctor's appointment. I need you to run to the grocery store and get this. I need you to have all that done in 2 hours. Like, she came in to this space in which we were enjoying ourselves, and she gave him this large list of demands, right? This long to-do list. And you know what he did? Do you know what he said? This shocked me. He said, yes, ma'am. I don't think that's what I would have done. I feel like there would have been a little bit more arguing, a little bit more, but Mom, a little bit more negotiation of, well, I'll do this, but I don't really want to do that. There wasn't any of that. He just said, okay, I'll do that. And that was it. It reminds me of what happened with Abraham. Abraham, when he was told to take Isaac to the altar, I think this is in Genesis chapter 22. He's told to take Isaac to the altar. His son, through whom all of these promises and all of these covenants were supposed to be fulfilled. He had all these hopes rooted in Isaac. And God tells Abraham, I want you to go take him to the altar. And Abraham just says, okay, I'll do it. Talk about a light into the world. What did I say his name? Joe? What he did that day, it was a small thing, right? This was a brief interaction that happened years ago, but it stuck in my mind because it's so unusual, maybe. Maybe because you just don't see that kind of obedience anymore. Maybe you might even call it a little bit of fear and a little bit of trembling. His mom was a disciplinarian. Maybe there was a little bit of fear and trembling instilled in that. He knew that if he didn't get that done, if he didn't do what he was told to do, there would be consequences. And isn't that true for us? Isn't that true for us? Work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. What an important and relevant message to the church today, and what a challenge. I mean, you look at where it led Paul, verse 17. He's sitting here writing under house arrest, right? He says in verse 17, even if I am to be poured out as a drink offering upon the sacrificial offering of your faith, I'm glad. It's not going to be easy, but it needs to be done. So consider this your invitation to begin that work. Now, what does that practically mean? Because it's really easy to just say, well, do what God tells you to do. And there is a certain challenge in getting too detailed with the application, because for different people that's going to look like different things, right? But I'll give you some things generally. Faithfully fulfill the roles that God has given you. Faithfully fulfill those roles and the responsibilities therein as in the best way that you can, whether those roles are in your family, at work, maybe it's in your church. Faithfully fulfill that role. Serve the people around you to the best of your ability. Go out of your way. Look for intentional moments to do kindness, to show kindness. Remember, we talked about David and Mephibosheth. Who can I show kindness to today? And then finally, strive for holiness. Turn away from sin. I want to read you this final bit of encouragement. This is from Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5. We'll start in verse 5. We'll read verses 5 through 8. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight. Be not wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and turn away from evil. It will be healing to your flesh and refreshment to your bones. Well, I hope you've been encouraged by the message here today. I want to tell you about a few of the resources we offer before we wrap up here today. We offer a Bible correspondence course to anyone who's interested in getting acquainted with Scripture. If you want to participate in that, or if you need a Bible, you can let us know. We offer Bibles to everyone totally free of charge. We offer that in regular print and in large print, hardcover ESV. You can contact us by the information there up on the screen, by mail at the address above, or you can go to letthebiblespeak.net. We've got a lot of information on there also. You can listen to our podcast, Let the Bible Speak UP, on Spotify and Podbean. We have all the episodes that we do here on that podcast as well. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. May God bless you and all that you do. Have a wonderful week.
With grace and mercy, send forth your word, Lord.